Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. If it's your first time stopping by, real quick, smash that subscribe button and let's follow along today on what we're going to do. So today we are going to lift a 1995 EZGO golf cart. So the backstory real quick on this is my dad and mom have some horse property a little bit west of me, and he likes to go out and spray weeds and take the kids down to the corner store to get ice cream and whatnot. And we sold his last golf cart. He wanted to go back to electric from gas, so this is what he ended up with, a really clean 1995. The problem is right there. It's just no ground clearance, no nothing on it. So we're going to rectify that problem by putting a 4-inch lift on it in today's video, and then we will put some 22-inch tall tires and get her up and going. We're also going to put back here a seat for the grandkids, but it'll also fold down so he can put his weed sprayer and all that good stuff. But real quick, I wanted to point out, I never realized how big the Pioneer was compared to a stock golf cart. I mean, if you look at the Pioneer, yeah, I'm running a high lifter as a 2 or 2.5 inch lift and the 28.5 inch tall tires, but this makes this golf cart look babyish. So we're going to kind of fix that real quick. So over here I have laid everything out for the lift. It's really easy. It's basically a giant spacer lift. So you got your front up here. This is a steering lift. You got your front, all new bracketry. You're going to reuse your factory spindles and tie rods. This is your steering. This just extends it so you can keep everything in the factory location. Then your rear is just a block lift. So basically you're going to put these on top of the axle. You're going to relocate the leaf springs from underneath the axle to the top of the axle, and then this relocates the mount will go on just like this, and your shock will go in there. Now, because we're going to be putting a back seat on there, we went ahead and got upgraded leaf springs. So being that this cart is around 25 years old, we're going to go ahead and put new heavy-duty leaf springs for a couple of reasons. One is we got the back seat going on here for the grandkids, and number two, when we put the weed sprayer on here, it holds 20 or 25 gallons, and that's a lot of weight over the rear end, and these factory springs are just starting to sag. Let's go ahead and get the front jacked up. Let's get the wheels and tires off, and let's get this lift started on the front. This whole process, I'm hoping, doesn't take more than a couple hours because it's going to start getting real hot real soon. I went ahead and got it jacked up. Got jack stands underneath there. It's a little harder to jack this up than I realized because my jack stands are just so big. So on this lift, it's pretty easy. We're going to remove the wheel and tire. This whole piece we're going to replace. We're going to reuse pretty much all of the stock hardware. So don't go throwing any bolts away or losing anything. We remove this front axle, basically take your spindles out, rebolt them. While we're in here, we're going to grease everything up. We're going to get everything nice and cleaned up. And then the leaf springs will basically be relocated to the top. And that's pretty much the whole aspect of the front lift. So let's go ahead, let's get everything disassembled and get the new one put on. So there you go. In about 12 to 15 minutes, you can have the whole front end of this apart. Real simple. So I'm gonna go ahead, these parts, if you look, being 25 years old are just really dirty. I mean, look at the old grease in there. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get all these cleaned up off camera. Then when I come back, we'll go ahead and start doing the install on the front. I'm gonna guess it's gonna take us 15 or 20 minutes to do that. Remember to keep all your factory bolts, everything's gonna be reused, and then we'll add a couple more for the extensions for the lift. And then when we get the whole front end done, we're gonna go ahead and set the toe just like we did on the Pioneer. We'll get the toe plates out. We'll set 1/8 of an inch in. I've got everything washed up. Threw a little degreaser, took it to a pressure washer. Nothing big. 25-year-old parts. So to put this back together is pretty easy. Like I said, it took me 12 to 15 minutes to take it apart. You get all new hardware, or all new hard parts, but you can use the old hardware, and there'll be a couple extension points that we'll put on the spindles. So to put this on, it's pretty simple. We'll start with the shocks. Put the shock mount on first. If you look at the rubber bushing, there's a little ledge there, and what that'll do is that just kind of fits up in here to keep it from rattling. So put those on. So then we put the leaf springs on with the new spring mounts and the old hardware. So the next thing we gotta do after we get the leaf springs and the shocks up is to put the spindles back on. But these tie rods aren't gonna reach. So what the kit does is it comes with an extension. It's got a hole here that lines up with the factory spot. And then you put a longer bolt to the bottom. The longer bolt will feed through. Top one will feed down. So you can do this while it's on the machine or off, then your tie rod will go right to there. I'm gonna go ahead and do it before I put it on the machine. So 30 minutes start to finish on the front lift. Pretty easy, like I said. I put new cotter pins in. Everything's nice and greased up, so we're good to go. I put the old wheels and tires back on because the new ones aren't in. The last thing I have to do on the front end is an alignment. If you need to know how to do an alignment, I will put the link to that video down in the description below. So click on that and it'll go over how to undo an alignment. Well, the bushings didn't show up till about 7:30 last night, so we're gonna go ahead and get this install finished today. And let me show you what we're gonna do. If you look at the golf cart as it sits, it looks like it's a dog dragging its butt across the carpet, unfortunately. So we're gonna fix the rear end. Now on the rear end, let's see if we can get over here. Larry, move. On the rear end, it has the leaf spring going underneath the axle. So we're gonna fix that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this block right here with the angle towards the front of the vehicle. We're gonna use these bolts that come with the kit, and we're gonna bolt them to the spring pad that's down there. Then we're gonna take our new leaf springs. Now you don't have to do the new leaf springs, but because we're putting the seats and a sprayer in the back, we're gonna use these new leaf springs, which is 4 leaves. And we're gonna put it here. And then you take the new spring pad right here. So this is the shock relocation mount. We're gonna take the factory U-bolts and connect it here. So the reason I couldn't finish this install yesterday is when I got my shipment in, they only shipped me 1 set of bushings, and that's not what I ordered. We had ordered this, which is 2 sets of bushings for the new leaf springs. I could have tried to push out the old bushings, but honestly, 25-year-old bushings, it just wasn't worth it. The new set for both leaf springs was like $11, same day shipping from Amazon. but unfortunately they didn't deliver too late, so we'll finish up this morning. It's nice and cool out. So let's go ahead, let's get the rear end jacked up and get it apart. So I went ahead and took the wheels and tires off just to give everyone a better view of what I'm doing. I think you could probably do this install with the wheels and tires on, but let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's your shock, and there's your 4 bolts for your U-bolts. If you were to continue using the stock leaf springs, you would still need to take them completely off because your motor and all the wires are on top of your axle. So we'll unbolt them here, the bottom of the shackle, and up here. Completely take it out, bolt on the new block, put the new leaf springs on top. So first thing to do is to get off the shock underneath there, and then we will break these loose and then take off the leaf springs. So I've got the golf cart supporting jack stands. I'm actually using this jack to pick up the axle. So you can see that. And now I will remove the leaf springs. So when removing the leaf springs, be careful of the brake lines wrapped around it. This will be the passenger side, this is the driver's side. I have it set up, shock mount in the back into the inside. You're gonna take your stock U-bolts, run that through, put the nuts on. So now we got this, the bushings pressed in, lift blocks installed. Take our supplied nuts and bolts, and we can start feeding them through. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to tighten up the lift blocks, the supplied hardware. I'm going to go ahead, use a deep well socket just to get it on there. Come underneath. So once you get your leaf springs and lift blocks installed, we're gonna go ahead and do the front of the leaf spring, get that one up and installed. We'll install the shocks and then the rear leaf spring, put the wheels and tires back on, and then we will go ahead and we will check the routing of the brake lines, zip tie them up appropriately so that they don't drag at all or hang out too low. We'll be done. I got the front of the leaf springs installed. Now I'm on the back. I've got the shackles fed through. A little bit of blue Loctite on the threads to keep everything from vibrating off because these are not locking nuts. And we'll get the shock. Now for the shock mounts, they're going to be just like the front. There's this lip right there. It's going to feed into here on both sides. And then we'll tighten those up. Now that everything is on, I double checked all the bolts and nuts. Only thing we have left to do is to put the wheels back on until the new wheels arrive. Well, there you have it. I'm done with part 1 of lifting this golf cart. So let's go ahead and take a walk around. Now on the rear, I measured it before we did the lift, and I was right at 12 1/8 inch. Right here. And after the lift, even though it's a 6-inch lift, we got 7 7/8 inch lift in the back. The reason being is, even though it's a 6-inch lift, we put the heavy duty leaf springs on it. So let's walk around. And it looks pretty good. It's got a nice stance. As you can see, I got the one brake cable over there. I can't get it up any higher because it'll be too tight, but it looks really good. So I think the other reason that we got so much lift is those rear shackles are down. They're down at a nice angle. That's about the angle you want them, about a 45-degree angle. So we're doing pretty good there. It makes it really easy if you gotta get underneath here to change your differential fluid. Gets all the battery cables up out of the way. It's a really nice lift for 160 bucks or so. So I'm gonna call that for today for this video. Don't forget to join me for part 2 when we do the rims and tires, and we do the platform back here, and we get it wired up for the weed sprayer. I got a few more odds and ends in this thing to finish up, but don't forget to give me a big thumbs up if you like the video. Comment below on what you think. I mean, if you remember 15-20 years ago, they were doing the big block golf carts with the 24 horsepower motors and taking them out to the dunes right when the rhinos were coming out. Now these things are dinosaurs and used in neighborhoods like this and retirement communities. But these used to be the thing to have. Now, not this one because it's electric, but the gas motors. So let me comment below, what do you guys think of golf carts? They're fun to drive. Getting a little altitude in them is even more fun. Now this will actually sit up 2 inches higher once I get those 22-inch wheels on here, rims and tires on here. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time.